Hey everybody, it's Dr. Jonathan, and today's live 12 at 12 is happening in the arms of Mother Nature. So, depending on who you are and where you are, these things are happening in Colorado, USA, Colorado time, and tomorrow is what Americans and I guess Canadians too celebrate as Mother's Day. And it's different in different parts of the world, and not everyone even celebrates Mother's Day. But one of the things that you'll find, especially if you come join me for the live program at the Althea Center Denver Facebook page tomorrow, 10:30 a.m., is that I think it's always important to take the symbols and the patterns and impulses of society and consider them mythically and mystically. So what that means is, that for millions of people, tomorrow will be about literal biological mothers. And traditionally in this country, greeting card sales go through the roof and flower sales go through the roof. But the truth is, the relationship to mother is a complicated one. Of course, we all have to be grateful for the women that gave life to us, that gave birth to us. But many of us had other mothers in our lives, other women, and in some cases men, people who played a mothering role or were mothering figures. We're going to explore all this in greater depth tomorrow, but today I think it's absolutely essential that we connect the spirit of motherhood, the spirit of mothering, the spirit of the maternal power to our relationship to nature. It's interesting because there have been lots of debates over time as to whether the metaphor of Mother Earth in native cultures was really universal. Was it literal? Is it a more modern figure of speech? And the reality is none of this matters. When we live a life of spirit, what matters most is that we listen through the heart and from the heart, and that we open our minds to the way that spirit is speaking to us every day through everything. So when a time like Mother's Day comes upon us, I'm inviting you now and whenever you watch this to consider all the mothering forces in your life, regardless of source, gender, or even personhood. The greatest mother in our life, of course, at least for me, is Mother Nature herself. And I believe Mother Nature has been called Mother Nature because of her patience, her endurance, her abundant generosity. And we often forget to relate to nature in a personal way. Of course, because our world of science and materialism has conditioned the way we feel about talking to what some people think of as inanimate objects, we've become more shy about actually talking to the land, talking to the trees, talking to clouds and rivers. And yet, not only is this an ancient tradition and culture that's been passed for thousands of years, but spiritually speaking, if you believe in consciousness, energy, and the presence of God in all things, it's just logical. It's logical that if before all form and substance, before all matter was pure spirit, energy, and consciousness, then the first thing that emerged out of that would be that which is closest to it, right? So the first natural creation that comes out of the great void, the great vastness, the great potential, the great consciousness that is spirit, that is God, well, that first thing is nature. We kind of forget when we talk about the Big Bang and the origins of creation that we're just talking about nature. that all those extraordinary cosmic forces, stars and planets and asteroids and supernovas, it's nature. It's nature, no more or less than the grass around me or the trees behind me, no more or less than the birds outside your window or the soil between the cracks on the sidewalk. Because nature is the first expression of spirit, we must recognize, we can realize and recognize that to connect personally and intimately with that essence, that energy, that spirit hidden within each form of life and each expression in nature is to connect with a living, vibrant consciousness that can communicate back with us. It's so important that we remember that nature isn't just our physical relative. And while it is absolutely true that we share our genetic composition with, frankly, most living organisms, including bananas, let alone chimpanzees, but we also share a common origin with stones and mountains, with the ocean, forests, and deserts. If we go back far enough in time, we have one common source, and we are common ancestors together. And when we live as relatives with the earth, with nature, with our planet, when we relate to earth as mother, we evoke another layer of our relationship beyond the physical, beyond the evolutionary, beyond natural history. We experience the emotional connection we have, the spiritual connection that we have, the mental connection that we have, and the fact that nature can feed us, nourish us, and communicate with us on all these levels. On all these levels. If you sit long enough beneath a tree, you'll hear something through your intuition. When you are feeling wounded or sad or despairing in your heart, you can go to nature and wash your grief, wash your pain, bury your sorrow, or engage in the natural elements for guidance as you face your emotional struggles. Actually, one of my favorite exercises when working with people in nature who are having a difficult time is to invite them to go for a walk, let's say in a place like this, and then pick something that symbolizes what your struggle is. So, it could be this stick. And this stick somehow represents my struggle because it feels like this part of my life is dead and broken away from the life force. Okay? So that's what someone might do. And then I ask them to sit a while with the stick. Look at it, feel it, listen to it, and ask themselves, how might the same thing that embodies my stuckness also provide me a solution, a suggestion, or a way forward? And so what we find is that suddenly the stick turns into a tool. And then we realize all the things that I could use this for. It's not just dead and lifeless. It's not just disconnected from a tree. But this, like all my past experiences, can actually be something that I carry forward constructively. And maybe I can look at my own situation that I once, just moments ago, thought of as dead and disconnected, as in fact a tool for my new future. So, when you enter nature and you treat her as mother, you find that you can have a full, dynamic, living relationship with her just the way we do human mothers. And more so if we learn to open our hearts and consider the spiritual truths and principles and energies available to us in nature, then we realize that she is actually giving to us and communicating to us whether we are conscious of it or not. It's not actually because we think it's so. It's because this is the nature of life, that it is intelligent, it is generous, it is guiding us to our soul's evolution and nourishment and therefore it is a part of us, and it should be loved and respected as we would our own family, the greatest mother figures we've had in our lives, and all the divine feminine signs, symbols, goddesses, archetypes, and myths. It's all alive right here in nature. You need no book. You need no teacher. You simply need your heart and mind open and the patience to slow down and watch and listen and feel as nature's gifts speak to you and through you directly, without any complication and without any need for anything in return. And so this is where we come to our close today, which is simply to say that if we consider this dynamic, diverse, complex, rich, living relationship we have with nature, and if nature truly is a relative, truly is a mother to us, an ideal mother, a spiritual mother, a divine mother, then how do we show our gratitude and respect every day, not only by spending time with her, communicating with her and listening to her, but also by showing our respect and treating her with love and kindness and thought for her health and future. I'd say that feels like a balanced relationship to nature. Anyway, there'll be more of this tomorrow as we explore the Divine Mother at the Althea Center Denver Facebook page. There will be another 12 at 12 tomorrow. I thought this was interesting to try doing this outside and live, and it's pretty cool. So thanks for joining me. I love you lots, and we'll connect more later.